That out of the way, let's get on with the first question today. And the first question today comes to us from Jonathan Martinez, who writes, my question is concerning Avengers 4. With the recent talk around the MCU fan community about Ant-Man possibly shrinking down and crawling into Thanos' ear, only to then expand back into regular size, killing Thanos in the process, do you think that the producers would add that into the film for some fan service, or maybe at the very least mention it in the film for a laugh? All right, thanks a lot for the question. And it is crazy how much I've been seeing, by the way, great job, Ray, on the thumbnail. It is crazy how much I've been seeing this fan theory going around, that, oh, the reason they couldn't have Ant-Man in Avengers 4, because all Ant-Man had to do is shrink down, go into Thanos' ear, expand out, and boom, blows his head apart. But that theory does not work. That theory doesn't work. And here's why, okay? Ant-Man is still just a human being. And when he shrinks down, he doesn't have superhuman strength per se. His bones don't become like steel and all that kind of stuff. He is still flesh and blood, right? Thanos is another thing altogether. So think of it this way. Let's say I took a sponge, all right? And you can crush down a sponge to a certain size. And I get that sponge and I put it in my ear. When I let go of the sponge, what's going to happen? Is it going to blow my head apart? No. Why? Because the materials that make up my head are by far stronger than the materials of the sponge, right? So the sponge would just expand out of my ear and then pop out, right? Because Thanos took big haymaker shots from the Hulk to his face, and his punches that would crush tanks, right? And his face withstood it all. So his head, his cranium, all that kind of stuff is by far stronger than iron and steel. So what would happen, I know we're going up to major geek levels here, just indulge me for a second. What would happen, I can't believe that a man in his 40s is sitting here broadcasting a show talking about what would happen if Ant-Man tried to expand inside of Thanos' head, but that's what we're doing. So anyway, what would happen is if Ant-Man shrunk himself down, crawled into Thanos' ear, and then tried to expand back out, nothing. Ant-Man would just die. His body would become crushed and pulverized and then just splat out Thanos' ear because the matter that makes up his head is just far too strong. And it would be the same thing as me taking a sponge, putting it in my ear, and nothing. Nothing. The sponge wouldn't be able to press my skull apart because it's just a sponge. That's what Ant-Man would be trying to expand inside Thanos' cranium. Just a sponge trying to expand, and it would actually kill Ant-Man. So, now that we've had this very important philosophical, global problem-solving discussion, let's move on to the next email.